find ourselves. Welcome to the local show. People you work with, people you know.
Welcome to another edition of The Local Show on GrassRoots Community Network. I'm Erik Skarvin, your host. Thanks for joining us, guys, as we work our way into the winter season. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year. This is also our holiday show, and I'm so pleased you've joined us. We've got a first-time guest of the week, guys. He's relatively new to Aspen, Colorado, came from the big city. He's the new executive director of the Wheeler Opera House. It's Mike Harrington. Welcome to the show, Mike.
Thanks, Eric. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
And great to meet you today, too.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
It's the first time we've conversed.
Yep.
And but we kind of were on the wavelength right away, being both modest Midwestern boys.
Sure.
You're from Cedar Rapids, Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
How was growing up in Cedar Rapids, briefly, in the great Midwest?
It was great. It's a really wonderful community. It's a really strong education system, lots of arts and culture. And, you know, I was a kid. I come from a big family. I'm the youngest of 8 kids.
Oh, wow. Catholics? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
See?
Irish Catholic.
See, I knew.
Irish Catholic.
Okay, there you go.
So I'm the youngest of 8 kids. And so, but there's a considerable gap between me and the next youngest, about 7 or 8 years.
Okay.
And it created for a really interesting environment. It was almost like I was an only child at a certain point, but there was a lot of heavy influence from my family.
And your sister in particular was a big influence. She was a dance teacher?
Yeah. So she's number 3 in line, so she's the 3rd oldest. Her responsibility would be to watch me when she finished school, and she had a job as a dance teacher, and so she would, you got to multitask. And since she was responsible for watching me while my parents worked, she would take me with her to her work, which was at a dance studio. She was a dance teacher. I was, we're talking, I'm 3-4 years old. And instead of just sitting in the corner, I got up and started participating, and kind of that was the start of the trajectory that has eventually brought me here.
Do you remember, did you just pick up on the music or the movement or was there a vibe that just got you, drew you in? Or
Yeah.
Do you remember what that initial attraction was?
I wish I could remember.
Fundamentally?
I wish I could remember.
Just seemed fun probably at the time?
Yeah. I mean, it was better than sitting in the corner, right? This was pre-iPad. Nobody was going to throw a screen in my face. So it was either coloring or, and this still to this day, I love to dance, music. I'm more of a rhythm guy than I am a lyric guy. So there's just something about the music hits my body and I want to move.
And then you would go on and move to the big city. We talked about that as I introduced you to New York City and attend NYU.
Yeah.
Can you kind of bring us through your education?
Sure. So, I mean, growing up, as I got more and more involved in the arts, I was in the competitive dance world for a while.
Oh, no
I was a tap dancer. Tap dancing was kind of my primary discipline. Okay. Then I got more involved in musical theater and music throughout high school, a really wonderful high school, George Washington High School in Cedar Rapids. And of course, continued to train with my sister. Her name's Michelle Burke, and she has a studio called Studio Dance. But I knew that Cedar Rapids was probably not the long-term destination for me because I was so passionate about the arts. So I always had my eyes set on New York City. I ended up applying to NYU, funny enough, without my parents knowing. I was the first one in my family to complete my undergraduate degree. First one to kind of really go away to go to college. And so it wasn't something back then that was, kind of the norm, at least in my family and my community. So I applied to NYU without them knowing. I got in, thankfully, had, a very generous scholarship offer, and decided to attend NYU originally as a dance education major. Kind of following in my sister's footsteps in a way.
Literally.
You're right, literally. But shortly after arriving there, I was spotted by the head of the musical theater department as a male dancer that could generally hold a tune. And I had a strong musical theater background, so they ended up shifting over to that department, and I got my degree in vocal performance.
And then you would work in, sounds like, several positions in New York City. running different programs. Can you tell us a little bit about your New York experience? Because you were there for quite a few years, correct?
I was. Let's see, I arrived there in 1997 and was there until, earlier this year, 2024, so whatever that math is. I originally started working in the president's office at New York University. There was a spot open for an administrative assistant. I applied, I got that job, and from there kind of developed a really strong mentor-mentee relationship with the president at the time. His name was L.J. Oliva. And Dr. Oliva, he also had a musical background. He played in Irish bands when he was growing up. So played Irish bars all across New York City.
I love it.
As a young academic, and so we connected on a number of levels, and had the opportunity to do some research and kind of administrative background work on a number of different arts initiatives that were happening at NYU, and that from there created some, opened some doors for me to eventually lead the Performing Arts Center at NYU that was recently built, or at the time had been recently built, called the Skirball Center.
Okay.
Took that time in higher education, kind of accepted an offer from Long Island University to do some work for them. And then I've spent the past 7 years as the executive director of a producing theater company called TheaterWorks USA.
Right, and in those times, it seemed like you focused a lot, tapping into your passion, right?
Oh, yeah?
It's like I can relate a lot to that because I ended up in Aspen like you, following my passion, my dream, what I really wanted to do for work.
Yeah.
Didn't want to really sacrifice that, and live somewhere else. But it was a lot of focus on collaborations, right, and partnerships, and being able to kind of use that multiplier effect, right, by partnering. Can you speak to that? Focus on, because it seems like that's been a big part of your success is creating partnerships, creating collaborations, expanding, the influence and kind of the relationships. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, collaboration, not competition. That's what I grew up being an artist, being a student artist. It creates an environment. Creating art for in a lot of disciplines is naturally collaborative. At least in the space where I grew up, right? In dance, in theater, oftentimes in music, it's naturally collaborative. So that was a skill that was instilled in me at a very young age and developed and grew over time. So it was very natural. It felt very natural for me to take that skill and apply it in a professional setting.
Right.
So like my time at NYU, I was charged with helping, with wanting to activate a relatively new performing arts center in an incredibly saturated cultural market. How do you do that, right? How do you introduce something new in an environment where maybe some people felt didn't need anything new?
Right.
I found the path to that through collaboration, right? Ultimately, we had something that maybe somebody else didn't, and they had something that we didn't. So how do we find a way to utilize those unique assets in a way that creates something bigger and better than either one of us could have done on our own?
I like that. That goes to Darwin, too. People think it's like survival of the fittest, and it's all about competition and, being individuals and, kind of try to dominate or, kind of conquer. But it's more, Darwin used cooperation, I think, that word, more than, kind of survival of the fittest. So that's kind of what you did, is you really tapped into your, like you said, your natural thinking from your background. Like when you're dancing, when you're singing, you're with other people.
Yeah.
If you were maybe a painter by yourself, that would have been a little different.
Right.
A little different art form. It's very individualistic. So it's really kind of a growth of more of the same, more collaborating, more partnerships, more relationships, which is such a big part of the Wheeler, correct? The Wheeler has been doing that, it seems, and they've been doing it more so as time goes on. And can you just speak to that, and then we'll take a quick break and rehydrate?
As a city-owned facility, it's critical, right? That we function as a resource for the community in a way that that helps to elevate and lift all the cultural partners that exist in this wonderful city. So I've really leaned into that. I've had great conversations already in the short 3 months that I've been here with, Jed at Theater Aspen and Alan at the Aspen Music Festival and School, and Breeze at Aspen Public Radio, and Caroline at Aspen Words. So many great folks, and that we're all looking. Some of the imagery I use is that I want the Wheeler to be at the center of the cultural wheel that exists in Aspen, and I think we're well on our way to doing that.
And now GrassRoots TV, Mike.
Exactly.
And John Masters, who you met, our executive director today.
You guys are on the list.
Yeah, and then Jim Horowitz is on your list, too.
Oh, for sure. And Jim and I have had great conversations, too.
He's great, too, right?
Funny story about Jim. I actually worked with his brother, Jeffrey, when I was in New York.
No kidding?
Yeah.
Huh. Well, there is a thing, Mike, called law of attraction. What we think, what we feel, we attract more of that.
Sure.
So you're attracting more Horowitzes. And it seems like these guys are creative guys in the business. So
For sure.
we're going to take a quick break. We won't get to those beers yet. We might have to wait till after. That's the work ethic we have from the Midwest, Mike.
Yes.
We're willing to wait till after before we start drinking beer.
As a city employee, I'm going to wait till I'm off the clock, though.
Okay.
Just so that's on the record.
So I'll just be drunk on the couch myself after the show. Anyway, well, we'll talk more about that later, offset. Anyway, I want to thank Mike Harrington for being here, our new executive director of the Wheeler Opera House. And I want to thank our underwriters for making these shows happen as we go throughout the ski season from mid-November to mid-April on the local show, shooting each Wednesday here at GrassRoots Community Network at the Red Brick Center for the Arts. We've got Haiti Children, Klug Properties, Local Spirits, Paradise Bakery, Pitkin County Solid Waste Center, Sundog Athletics, and, of course, the Wheeler Opera House. We're going to go to our only break of the show, guys. We'll be back in 2 minutes. We've got a lot to talk about, guys, because a lot's coming up at the Wheeler, including Jerry Seinfeld. So don't go away.
Located in the heart of Aspen, the Wheeler Opera House is rooted in community and recognized globally, presenting live entertainment from comedy and music to dance and theater. Visit WheelerOperaHouse.com for a full schedule of events.
Living in Aspen is more than just owning a home. It's about embracing a way of life. I'm Chris Klug, and I've spent my life immersed in everything this mountain community has to offer, from skiing and snowboarding to art and culture. I understand what makes Aspen special. Discover the Aspen lifestyle with a broker who truly understands it.
Want to live like a local? Help us reduce food waste, a major contributor to climate change.
You can help in 3 simple ways.
Plan menus carefully and only buy what you need.
Collect unused scraps for compost.
Buy ugly fruits and vegetables.
Reduce food waste.
Live like a local.
Locally owned and operated, Local Spirits has low prices, a convenient location next to Exxon gas station with parking, and is Aspen's exclusive cigar dealer. 3% back with our loyalty program. Sundog Athletics, Aspen's adventure sports school and snowshoeing specialists since 1996. Brought to you by Paradise Bakery and Gelateria, serving Aspen for 42 years.
Welcome to the local show. People you work with, people you know.
Thanks for sticking with us here. This week on the local show, we've got our first-time guest. He's our new executive director at the Wheeler Opera House, Mike Harrington, from the great Midwest. And so we just hit it off right off the bat, especially when I said beer. And just talking about it, there's so many commonalities, but one of the commonalities we have, Mike, is love of outdoor sports and love of the great outdoors. And what are some of the things that you've found that you really enjoy, just doing outside in Aspen? I guess come winter time now.
Sure. So, I mean, for me, there's a difference between outside in Aspen. So I've got more experience just outside in general than I do outdoors in Aspen. But in the first few months that I've been here, so I arrived in late September.
Right.
I mean, it was absolutely gorgeous
Oh.
to go outside,
Amazing.
see the leaves change, take a couple hikes, spend some time. The John Denver Sanctuary in Rio Grande Park was kind of one of the first places that I, quote unquote, discovered and find like little nooks there to just kind of sit and relax. I love that. Oh. I'm looking forward, next year as things get nice again, also to get back out there, maybe get some biking in and more hiking. In the winter, I've been on the slopes a couple times so far.
Okay, so you are a skier.
Yes.
Okay.
I am a skier. I'm a developing skier, let's say. I've
Okay.
skied a little bit on the East Coast, very different.
Yeah.
Funny enough, the last time I skied was on an indoor slope at a mall in New Jersey. So this is very different out here.
Which exit off the turnpike?
I don't even know. I think it's right near MetLife Stadium. It's a mall called American Dream.
That is wild.
Yeah,
I
and
would not have guessed indoor skiing was the
no,
the
I
last time before Aspen.
Didn't love it. So the two opportunities I've had so far this season to get on the mountain have been great. I'm looking forward to a lot more.
What about snowshoeing or cross country skiing or?
Haven't done them. I'm interested and curious in all of the above. Just haven't had the opportunity yet.
Okay, we have to talk. So my other job is teaching and guiding, in particular in the winter through Sundog Athletics, snowshoeing, cross-country skiing, and winter fat biking. The mountain bikes with the 5-inch wide tires that can ride, say, on groomed or snow-packed roads, like, say, Maroon Creek Road up to the Bells, or end of Castle Creek Road, where they close that by the ghost town of Ashcroft. You can just bike right up, and it's so fun.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
It's just silly. It's like being a kid on a bike again.
Yeah.
We like to say, release your inner child on a fat bike, So
Well, I look
we'll
forward
have to talk about that.
For sure. I look forward to that. And then, in just terms of spending time outside, when I'm with my dog, I love spending time outside with my dog. That's big. And I'm a huge baseball fan.
Nice.
So baseball is generally played outdoors.
So you have are you a New York Yankee fan?
I'm a Yankees fan.
Okay.
Yeah, I moved to New York in '97, like I had said before,
Yeah.
and that was right at the beginning of that run that they had. I think it was 3, maybe 4 back-to-back champions. I grew up a Cubs fan, right in the Midwest. I don't know, you being from Milwaukee, maybe you were Brewers.
Brewers,
fan? Okay.
yeah, still am.
Been to Miller Park a couple times. Great place to see some baseball.
Yeah.
But when I moved to New York and the Yankees kept winning, it was really hard not to get swept up in kind of the thrill of that. And I got to relive it a little bit this year when the Yanks finally got back to the World Series. Didn't turn out the way that we had hoped, but
sorry, man.
it's always next year.
I feel you.
Growing up a Cubs fan, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Just growing up a Cubs fan, there's always next year. That's the mantra.
That's it. Yeah. Look forward to that.
Yeah.
So that's a big adjustment, though, New York to Aspen. I mean, it's, although Aspen has the sophistication, they say maybe little mini New York in some ways in the mountains.
Yeah.
The Rodeo Drive of the Rockies, you hear all these expressions. But this is sophisticated. But, I mean, are you having a tough time with that adjustment? Are you enjoying that? More small-town atmosphere?
I'm enjoying it. Yeah. I'm enjoying it a lot. There are a lot of things I miss. But I'm finding, it's a really culturally sophisticated town for its size in particular, and that's great. I'm loving every minute so far.
And you get to be at the Wheeler Opera House. What a gem that is.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess, do you feel like, I would imagine you feel an obligation, right? A responsibility. It's just such a gem of Aspen. It's precious.
Yeah.
So can you speak to that, like just the kind of the magical, special nature of the Wheeler, which just went through a renovation? Correct?
Sure. Yeah. So we're finishing up. We're in the very final stages, thankfully, of a rigging update. So the rigging is all the battens and the ropes that exist over the stage, so lights can go up and scenery and curtains and all that. We've upgraded that from the system that was put in place in 1984. Okay. We've removed all the old sandbags that would work as counterbalance, counterweights and whatnot. It's all now all motorized. It's incredibly safer, and will allow us to maximize utilization of the space. So that's really exciting. I'll lead with that because what I really love about the space is the the sweet spot that it's found of being technologically, I mean, we're ahead of the curve. We're ahead of the curve in terms of
advanced.
Yeah, technically advanced,
Yeah.
and while also being this historic, while looking and having been restored to its full historic glory. So it's that juxtaposition is incredible, and we're going to lean into that even more. We're looking at, how we can, maybe create some infrastructure for video streaming, and again, more ways that we can share this beautiful jewel that we have here in Aspen, maybe with the broader community.
I love that. Yeah, it's like you've got the benefits of technology and modernization, but incredible amounts of history and all the shows. Can you imagine how many? Tens of thousands of shows over, I don't even know the date of over 100 years.
Well, so 1889. So again, do that math, 135, 136, somewhere around there.
That's my worst subject. 130-something years. That is incredible. It burned down, rebuilt, many renovations.
Yeah. I think
exterior was redone several years ago, I think.
Right. They went through and addressed any
special
cracking and pointing and
but it's just magical, and it's classic. You kind of have the opera house kind of seating, the balcony up above. We were talking briefly before the show. I've seen everything from Rodney Dangerfield to third world reggae, and a lot of in between there. Lyle Lovett. What are some of the shows that I mean, we teased Jerry Seinfeld, and that's, why don't we just go to that? I mean, it's just so hard to resist talking about Seinfeld, because you had a connection with Jerry Seinfeld, or are you guys friends? Or how did
we're certainly not friends.
You hang out?
No. I just, so here's how it happened. I mean, in terms of getting the connection, I just know how the business works, and I've been doing this for a while, and know the right people to call. What happened was I was driving out from New Jersey, moving some of my stuff here on my way to Aspen to begin the job, and it's a lot of time. It's a long drive, a lot of time to think, and I just started noodling around. I was like, okay, what do we do here? How do we make a splash? How do we get people's attentions? And what's the phrase? Aim for the moon, land on the stars, or something like that. And so I just started to brainstorm. Who are the big names? I knew I had this comedy festival. I knew I had the Aspen Laugh Festival that had not been programmed, and so that was one of my first to-dos on the list. And I was like, how can we make a splash? Let's get something. The theater's been closed for 4 months. It'll be reopened in January. We got to get people to pay attention again. And I started to brainstorm a couple names. Seinfeld was one that came to mind. I did at a rest stop, I actually did a quick Google search to make sure he was out performing again. I was aware, he took a long break. Yeah. And he was. And then I kind of got the ball rolling. And it took a little while, but we made it work. And we were able to announce him along with about 24 other shows that I've been able to get on the calendar for between January and April.
Unbelievable. Yeah, the buzz around that, So that will be March 15th?
Yeah, Seinfeld is on March 15th.
Is to close Aspen Laugh Fest,
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, and the whole festival opens with a Valley Comic Showcase that we're doing in partnership with the collective at Snowmass. So all your favorite local comics will hopefully be there in the vault, which is the lobby space, right? The vault at the Wheeler. That's how the whole festival is going to kick off, as it should, with that local spirit. Then after that, we've got Becky Robinson, who's an Aspen favorite.
Yep.
The second night, we have Chloe Trost, who was on Saturday Night Live last year. She was a SNL cast member. She's coming to Aspen with her set. We've got the Sklar Brothers, super popular podcast and pop culture, sports. That night, the following night, we've got a guy named Michael Cruz Kane, who's doing his a one-man show that he premiered off Broadway at the Audible Theater. Doesn't sound like a comedy show. He's a writer for Colbert, really funny guy, and unfortunately, he experienced a tragedy that he has spun into creative genius. I think. His infant son passed away. One of his infant sons passed away, and he has taken it and turned it into a comedy show about grief. It's called Sorry for Your Loss. It's really exceptional. It doesn't sound like a barrel of laughs, but it's a wonderful evening. So that one's a great one. Then we're following that up with a woman named Sofia Nino de Rivera, who was she was the first comedian that Netflix gave an all Spanish special to. She's coming in. She's going to do an all Spanish set.
Nice.
She was like 2016 Mexico City Woman of the Year or something like that. She's a really strong presence.
How cool.
Where are we at? Friday. Friday was going to be Nurse John. Nurse John, if you're not familiar, John De La Cruz is his name. He is a TikTok sensation. Used to be, I think he still is a registered nurse.
Okay.
With just kind of a natural instinct for comedy.
Right.
Was making all of his colleagues laugh. They're like, hey, you should try it. He's tried it, and now he's selling out, 3,000, 4,000 seat theaters all across the country. So he's coming to Aspen on the Friday, March 14th. And then Saturday afternoon, we've got a family show, a guy named Alex Zerby, the Zaniac, who's going to come in, an all-ages, family-friendly event in the vault, so you can bring your kids.
Nice.
And then Saturday night, Seinfeld.
Man, what a great variety. Like, kind of something for everyone, right?
That was the
Which
objective.
Kind of the general theme or philosophy of the Wheeler. You want to mix in that variety, right?
Sure, it's all about
Something for
making sure everybody feels like they belong there.
Right.
Right? We want it to be a welcoming, inclusive environment, and that starts with what's on stage.
And it starts with the locals. And you guys have and here's another great splash that you made with an insider program. For $20, locals can join like a membership to the Wheeler. And can you describe that? Some of the benefits for locals in the insider program?
Sure. So this is kind of a new version of what I understand existed previously. It was called Wheeler Wins, right? So this is the Wheeler Insider Program. There's about 6 zip codes, and if you're a primary resident of one of those 6 zip codes, then you are eligible to become a Wheeler Insider. Like you said, $20. It's an annual membership, follows the calendar year. So you can sign up now to become a Wheeler Insider for all of 2025.
Okay.
And what that does, it gets you access to purchase tickets for shows that we announce before anyone else. If you get there early enough, you can buy some of the best seats in the house at the lowest prices. You're eligible for exchanges. So the typical policy, kind of industry-wide, is no refunds or exchanges. However, for locals, we want them to feel, we want them to buy tickets, but like sometimes things happen and your plans change and you're not available anymore, but you've already bought tickets for that night. Well, don't worry about it. If you're an insider, contact the box office. We'll switch. You'll get a credit for that amount that you paid. You can use it for another show.
Awesome.
What else is there? You get a free drink.
I saw that.
The first time.
Benefits.
If you get a free drink token, or a token for a free drink, you're the first show that you attend after you've purchased a ticket as an insider. And there's more. So I hope we've had a really tremendous response already. We've got about 400 insiders signed up. We're looking for that number to go up.
We're down to already just a minute to go, Mike, and I wanted to get into January, but I mean, people can go to WheelerOperaHouse.com.
Yep.
Check out, because you're reopening what date in January?
So the first event that we've got on the calendar, I think, is January 16th. It's a program as part of Aspen Gay Ski Week.
Okay.
And then we've got Brian Scary, who's part of our Changemaker Speaker Series, on January 17th.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Did you have fun on the show today?
I had a great time. This was really awesome.
It's going to get better, Mike.
Thanks for
because
having
I
me here.
baked you cookies.
Oh, amazing.
I don't know if they told you about this at the Wheeler, but this is what we do.
No, cookies?
Now, it's up to you to allocate or not on these cookies, but these are Erik's Organic Mega Chunk. That is where I'm not a minimalist when it comes to chocolate or maybe beer,
Okay.
and cherry. So chocolate and cherry,
Amazing.
all organic. If you put organic in front of anything,
Yeah,
no matter what it is, organic pizza, organic, potato chips, it makes it automatically healthy.
Absolutely.
Did you have fun today?
I did. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being
Appreciate it.
here. And thank you for being a part of our local community and our local gem at the Wheeler.
I felt so welcomed. It's really been a great few months, and I look forward to meeting more people at the Wheeler once programming starts up. Please come often.
I look forward to seeing you at the Wheeler. I look forward to seeing you guys at the Wheeler, and thanks for watching this week on The Local Show. Happy holidays, guys.
Located in the heart of Aspen, the Wheeler Opera House is rooted in community and recognized globally, presenting live entertainment from comedy and music to dance and theater. Visit WheelerOperaHouse.com for a full schedule of events.
Community is at the heart of Aspen, and I take great pride in being a part of it. I'm Chris Klug, and as a lifelong Aspen resident, my connection to this community runs deep. My involvement in local events and charities isn't just about giving back. It's about staying in tune with the community I love. Allow me to help you find your place in our incredible community together.
Join the string beans in helping reduce food waste in our community.
Plan menus carefully and only buy what you need.
Collect unused scraps for compost.
Ask for smaller portions in restaurants.
Take home leftovers to eat later.
Donate unopened food to our food bank.
Let's work in concert to reduce food waste.
Sundog Athletics, Aspen's adventure sports school and snowshoeing specialists since 1996.
Welcome to the local show. People you work with, people you know.
Theme for the show, for the station.
Just listen and just feel this. Just feel this.
Something that goes with that.
That's beautiful. You guys, we gotta do something that like hits the, like that gets out there among the people. Something.
I want to do a show. I want to do a show about organic cooking with my organic vegetable garden, and do a thing about that. I think people need to know about it.
No, we got to do a TV show.